So DJI have just released the Osmo Pocket 4, which is a successor to one of the most popular cameras over the last couple of years, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. In today's video, we're going to be comparing both of these cameras to see if the DJI Pocket 4 is really worth upgrading to if you already own a Pocket 3, and which of these cameras should you buy if you don't own either of them. So let's head out, test both of these cameras, and really see if the Pocket 4 is worth it. So I'm now doing a walk-in test on the DJI Osmo Pocket 4 and the Pocket 3. I'm both shooting in both of them in 4K 25p, and on the Pocket 3 is D-Log M, and on the Pocket 4 is a D-Log. So they're both in 10-bit, but obviously the DJI Pocket 4 now has the upgraded 14 stops of dynamic range. D-Log is their more superior log profile. D-Log M is still good, don't get me wrong. Like, I use it on the Osmo 360 and I use it on my Air 3S, but the D-Log is what you can find in the Mavic 4 Pro. It is just a better log profile. So this is the differences between the two. It is quite sunny out at the minute and I'm going in and out of shade. So what does this look like? Which image do you prefer? They both have 1-inch sensors at the minute, using the active track on both of them at the minute. So when I'm moving left and right, how does it look? Is it tracking better on the Pocket 4, or does it look pretty similar? Because it does have a increased better active track 7.0 on the new Pocket 4, so the active track should be better. I've set both cameras to 5600 Kelvin and they're both in auto exposure, but I do have some sunglasses on, but it does look like the Pocket 4 has slightly warmer tones. Now I do think that is because you can put the color recovery mode on, whereas on the Pocket 3 you can't do that. It does just look like it's in standard log, so that's why it might look slightly different on the back, but then again it is in D-Log M as well. And also screen brightness on the Pocket 4, I think it goes up to 1000 nits brightness instead of 700, so it is brighter at the minute to my eyes on the screen. The sun's out at the minute, so this is probably a pretty good way to test the dynamic range. If I just turn around now, I know I'm in auto exposure, being backlit, how does this look on both cameras? From my first impressions looking at the back of the screen, the Pocket 4 does look slightly nicer. I'm still in active track on both of them. It's just kind of weird vlogging with two cameras in both hands, but yeah, this is what it looks like anyway. Even though they've both got 1-inch sensors, they are slightly different. The Osmo Pocket 4 has 37 megapixel sensor and the Pocket 3 has a 9.4 megapixel sensor, I think. So now this is the standard profile on both of these cameras, because I'd imagine maybe a lot of you out there might be just using the standard color profile, and this is what it is like, looks like side to side on the Pocket 3 and the Pocket 4. But the big advantage on the Pocket 4 is that they have a new film tone look now. I think that's a big win on the Pocket 4 in my opinion, because these film tones look really, really cool. Okay, so now this is one of the examples that I spoke about earlier about the film tones. So we're both in standard color profile, but the DJI Pocket 4 actually has film tones, so you can choose up to 1 out of 6 film tones to use in your vlogs. And I actually really like this feature because at the minute I'm using the warm tone and I just really like how these look. I'll go through them now and I'll quickly change to another one on the Pocket 4. So now this is another one, again just standard on the Pocket 3, but we're now shooting in the movie version, movie film tone on the DJI Pocket 4. So again, do you like the look of this? It's just some cool creative ways what you can use with these film tones just to make them look a little bit more creative and dynamic for your vlogs rather than just a standard profile all the time. Obviously you can get this kind of look in D-Log and D-Log M when you do color grade in post, but a lot of people might struggle with color grading and might not want to do it. So having the option to just put it into standard color profile, pick a film tone like this, is just a really nice option for a lot of people who don't want to sit around and color grade all the time. And now this is the last film tone that I'll show. This is called NC Film. So this is a very, very stylized look. So this is obviously depending on if you're going for a really old school stylized old film look for your vlogs, then obviously you can just pick it on this like this. So another amazing feature, sorry about the wind, on the DJI Pocket 4 is the 4x lossless zoom. Now on the Pocket 3 at the minute, this is their punched in ×2 zoom that they implemented in a firmware update, but you can't shoot it in D-Log M and you can't zoom out while recording. Whereas as you can see now on the Pocket 4, you can zoom in and zoom out at the same time. You don't have to stop recording and you can shoot it in D-Log 10-bit color profile as well. It doesn't have to be in the standard mode like it is on the Pocket 3. If you're enjoying this video so far, it will be absolutely amazing if you could hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos that I make on the Pocket 4 in the near future, and it also just really helps me and the channel out. So I'm using the active track again now on the DJI Pocket 4, and I'm just going to see how this actually moves around. And the Pocket 3 is something that I've had for absolutely years, and I've absolutely loved this camera. Now, a feature that I actually don't think is the biggest deal for me, and that is that the Pocket 4 now can shoot in 4K up to 240 frames per second. So you can get some ridiculous amount of slow motion in 4K on the Pocket 4. So after I made this video, I actually went out to get some footage of my cats at my mum and dad's house, and I tested out just the normal D-Log M at 4K 50p, but I did also test a 4K 240 frames per second. And one thing I did notice is that, one, you can't shoot it in D-Log, and two, you cannot use the 2x lossless zoom. So it's only at 20mm wide angle lens, and it's only in one of the standard color profiles. So if you want to shoot any kind of slow motion higher than 60 frames per second, you cannot shoot it in D-Log. Whereas on the Pocket 3, you can only shoot that, well, I say only you can shoot that, you can only shoot it in 120 frames per second, which is the standard anyway, and a lot of the cameras can't actually shoot 4K 100, so it just shows how good this camera actually is. However, the bit rates are slightly different as well. On the DJI Pocket 3, you can only shoot in 130 megabits or megabytes per second, so I always get mixed up between them two. But the Pocket 4 goes up to 180 megabits or megabytes. Again, I always get mixed up between them two. I think it's megabits per second. So it's got slightly higher bit rate, slightly higher quality when you do shoot on it as well. Mix that with that stack sensor on the DJI Pocket 4, then you are getting slightly nicer image quality, especially when you do mix that in with that D-Log M color profile. But again, we are just in the standard color profile at the minute, and I will switch back over to D-Log M right now. And now we're also shooting back on D-Log on the DJI Pocket 4, again with the active track, which I won't really use loads anyway. But how does this just generally look as a shot in your opinion? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will switch over to the DJI Pocket 3 in a minute and get some shots in D-Log M on that as well. And also on the front, like we mentioned earlier with the design, you've got a second button on the front now. It's a customizable button, and I've actually mapped that at the minute to changing between photo and video, because before on the Pocket 3, yes, this seems very lazy, but you press the bottom left button, sometimes it goes off, you swipe over to photo, you click photo. It's just a few many buttons, and especially if you want to get a quick shot in the moment, you might miss the moment. Whereas on this new customizable button, if you just press the button once, you're in photo instantly. But I'm going to quickly switch back over now to the DJI Pocket 3 so you can see this exact same scenario with the active track, with D-Log M, and see which one you like better. Okay, so we're now shooting on the DJI Pocket 3 in D-Log M now. How does this look compared to the DJI Pocket 4? Again, it's not the biggest upgrades in the world, but what do you actually think? Do you think it's worth picking up the DJI Pocket 4 instead of the Pocket 3 if you already have a Pocket 3? Especially because if you like this image, this is probably what you're going to get 99% of the time compared to the Pocket 4 anyway. Is there a big enough difference to justify upgrading to the new Pocket 4? Well, only you can decide that. So now this is the standard color profile on the DJI Pocket 3. How does it look compared to the DJI Pocket 4? I just got some little bits of B-roll in 4K 50 on the DJI Pocket 4 of this DJI Pocket 3, and I got to admit, it's not ideal for stuff like that, because I did try using the 2x lossless zoom to get this in 4K 50, and I got to admit the focus struggled. It kept focusing on the background, so I had to end up changing it to active track, and that focused on it perfectly once it was tracking it. But out of the active track, it couldn't actually focus on the Pocket 3 to get that nice blurry shallow depth of field using the 2x lossless zoom. So you have to play around with that a little bit. It's not the perfect stuff like that. So now one thing that I have noticed, and I'll overlay the footage in a minute between the two cameras, is when I was testing out the Pocket 4 yesterday in D-Log, it was in auto white balance, and it made it look so green, and it just didn't look good at all. I had to look at reasons why it looked like that, and it was because I think I was in auto white balance. As soon as I changed it to 5600 Kelvin, it looked a lot more natural and a lot nicer as well. Also, let's test this dynamic range in the D-Log versus D-Log M, right backlit against the sun. But yeah, basically the white balance looked really like bad on the auto white balance on the Osmo Pocket 4 compared to like the 5600 Kelvin, which are what I'm shooting in now, and on the Pocket 3. Leave your thoughts in the comments below what you think so far on these two cameras. So the DJI Pocket 4 and the DJI Pocket 3 are very, very similar. And I actually have the Creator Combo on the DJI Pocket 3. And I was going to get the Creator Combo on the Pocket 4, but after doing a little bit of research, I actually don't think the Pocket 4's Creator Combo is worth it that much, mainly because now you miss out on the battery extender, which I think is a huge missed opportunity, because that's one thing that I loved about the Pocket 3. The battery life is not amazing, and obviously because it's an internal battery, you can't change the battery out. So once it's dead unless you charge it. But the battery extender obviously allowed you to shoot still because it was charging the Pocket 3. So that's a really, really great feature and a great accessory to have on the Pocket 3. I've used that so many times and it's come in clutch with me. I can't tell you how many times, but it doesn't come with the Creator Combo on the Pocket 4. You have to buy it separately. So if you did want to buy the Pocket 4 Creator Combo and you want to get the battery extender, obviously that's going to cost even more money. So that's just a big missed opportunity in my opinion. However, the Pocket 4 does have an improved battery life over the DJI Pocket 3. You can shoot in, I think it says 1080p. I need to just quickly check that actually. So you can shoot in 1080p, 24 frames per second on a DJI Pocket 4 for 240 minutes, whereas on the Pocket 3 in that same resolutions and specs, you can only shoot in, I think it's 140 minutes. Again, let me just check. I literally just read it. I need to check it again now. 166 minutes on the Pocket 3. And on the Pocket 4, you can get back to 80% charge within 18 minutes. So maybe that's why they didn't include it in the Creator Combo this time, because the battery life has improved by quite a lot. 166 minutes to 240 minutes is a lot. And obviously, if you're charging back up to 80% within 18 minutes, I think obviously that's a great, it's super fast. So maybe that's why they didn't include it. And if you want it, you have to buy it separately. But because of that, I just didn't think it was worth it. And even though it has got better battery life, it's still going to run out and die. And obviously because you don't have external batteries on the Pocket cameras, you're going to need something to charge it. And the perfect way to do that was with the battery extender. But what I think they have done instead is include that fill light. Now the fill light does look cool and I do think it looks nice, but I just feel like it's not a gimmick. And obviously if you're in low light situations, it's going to be way better than just bumping up your ISO. But I'd much rather have a battery grip rather than a fill light on the Pocket 4 over the Pocket 3. That's just my opinion anyway. Obviously, the fill light might help for you, but even without the fill light on the Pocket 4, obviously because I don't have it, it's still significantly a little bit better in low light compared to the Pocket 3. I'll say better, but it can shoot up to, I think it's 25,600 ISO now, whereas the Pocket 3 can only go up to 12,800 ISO. So it's still going to look pretty muddy, but obviously you can go slightly brighter on the Pocket 4. I just think that was a little bit of a shame not including the battery grip in the Creator Combo on the DJI Pocket 4. And obviously as well with the DJI Pocket 4, the good thing about the Creator Combo is that it still comes with the mic. So you get the DJI Mic 3, which is obviously amazing. I'm using the DJI Mic 2 at the minute, so obviously when I was recording using these two cameras, and the DJI Mic 2 is amazing. The DJI Mic 3 is even better, and it can also shoot or support, up to 4-channel audio. So you can actually connect 4 different mics to 4 different people, and you can have 4-channel audio on the Osmo Pocket 4 using the DJI Mic 3, which I think is great. But again, another reason why I don't think it's 100% worth getting that, even though the Mic 3 is amazing, is because DJI have just released the DJI Mic Mini 2, and they also have the DJI Mic Mini. Now the Mic Mini you can actually get for £25 on its own. So if you actually just buy the DJI Mic Mini, you can automatically connect it up to the Pocket 4, and now you have really nice quality audio for 25 quid. If you want a tripod to go with it, you can probably get one for a really small, cheap one for 10, 20 quid. Again, that comes in the Creator Combo, and I feel like you don't need the 15mm wide angle lens on it anyway. I've rarely used it on the DJI Pocket 3. I actually think 20mm is the perfect vlogging focal length. So I don't think I'd really need 15mm that much, and I haven't used it a lot. So that's why I think the Creator Combo on the Pocket 4 might not be worth it to you. I think it's called the Essential Combo that I got. The one above that, the Standard Combo, I think the only difference between them two is that it comes with a gimbal protector clamp, because in the Essential Combo, all you get is the little mount for the tripod, and then you also get this bag, but it's not the most protective bag in the world, and you have nothing to protect the gimbal like you do on the Pocket 3, because on the Pocket 3 you have this, which is a really nice protective case for it. I don't even know if that comes with the Creator Combo on the Pocket 4, because I think it just comes with that clamp. I think they should have included that in the Essential Combo in my opinion. But yeah, basically what I think is the Creator Combo is probably worth it, and I do recommend you probably get it because of the Mic Mini, because of the DJI Mic 3, and you get all the other accessories. I just think because of how cheap the Mic Mini is, do you need to get the creator combo on the DJI Pocket 4? That's obviously up for you to decide. But another reason, to be fair, why I didn't go for the creator combo is because I have everything in the Pocket 3 creator combo. There was not really a reason for me to get the creator combo, unless obviously when I eventually sell this, I'll lose everything. But like I said, I can just buy the Mic Mini if I do want for the Pocket 4. That's my thoughts on the creator combo and the essential combo for the Pocket 4 anyway. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think it's worth picking up the creator combo, or do you think it's better this time just going with the standard essential combo? Now, another thing that I do want to talk about, which I think is actually a massive upgrade on the Pocket 4 over the Pocket 3, and that is it has built-in storage of 107 gigabytes. After using my Osmo 360 and my DJI Air 3S, I've gotten used to just using the built-in storage on these cameras. One thing that I really don't like to admit, the amount of times I have actually left the micro SD card in my computer and I get there and I can't shoot anything. It's just more of a lifesaver than a cool feature to replace an SD card with, because it does actually recommend when you first get this is to put in an SD card, but I just love the inbuilt storage just in case you do forget an SD card, just in case an SD card corrupts, or if you run out of an SD card space. 107 gigabytes, that's more than enough. So now I want to talk about the build quality and design on the Osmo Pocket 4 and the Osmo Pocket 3, because obviously, as you can tell throughout this whole video, they look exactly the same. They pretty much have the exact same camera system, like gimbal on the top. The screen is literally the exact same, apart from the Pocket 4 slightly brighter now at 1000 nits instead of 700. But the main physical differences on the actual two cameras overall is when you actually turn them on the Osmo Pocket 4, you actually have two physical buttons below the screen now, which I actually think is really, really helpful and a really, really cool feature. One of them is that 2x lossless zoom. So when you press it in, you go into ×2 mode, so it goes to more of like a 40mm look. And the great thing about that is that you can shoot it in D-Log now, whereas on the Pocket 3, with that integrated zoomed in button when you was in that firmware update, you could only shoot that in the standard color profile, whereas now you can shoot the 2x lossless zoom in D-Log, which I think is an absolute huge upgrade, because that was one of my favorite features on the Pocket 3. I actually did miss when I did go traveling. I loved the 20mm for the vlogging look, but when I wanted to get some nice detail shots, 20mm was just a little bit too wide, and when I used the joystick button to zoom in, it just lost a little bit of quality. So when they actually released that firmware update where you could just press the little button on the screen and it would zoom into 40mm and keep that 4K image, I thought that was amazing. But obviously, unfortunately, you couldn't shoot that in D-Log M, but they've brought that over on the Pocket 4 to be able to shoot that in D-Log. And another great feature, which I actually didn't think was the biggest deal in the world. I didn't really realize it. I felt like it was a little bit annoying when I was using it, but every time on the Pocket 3, if you wanted to zoom in, you had to stop recording, then press zoom, and then start recording again. But on the Pocket 4, you can just shoot and zoom in, zoom out, all in one shot. You don't have to stop recording. You can just do it all simultaneously, which I think is a really great feature, which I didn't even think was needed, but now after using it, it's definitely 100% needed. And it also has a C button, which is a customizable button. You can press it once to actually change between, I've got it set to photo and video. You can actually double press it to change it to someone else, so you can change it to a custom mode. So if you want to quickly access 4K 240 and you actually set up all your settings for 4K 240 frames per second, if you double click the capture button, or the customizable button I should say, it will go straight over to that customizable mode, so you can get into slow motion shooting straight away. You can also triple press the button, which I don't actually know what that does, so I'll have to have a look at that. Another difference is actually the joystick. The joystick just feels nicer. That's all I have to say about that basically. The Pocket 4 is also slightly larger as well, at 190 grams, whereas the Pocket 3 weighs at 179 grams, something that you're definitely not going to notice. And also, again, I'm not sure why they did this and kept it on the Pocket 4, but on the bottom they've kept the USB-C port, whereas I really think that should just be on the side or on the back, because if you do want to add a tripod to this, you then have to again put this like tripod mount holder with the USB-C port in it, and on this the USB-C port's on the back anyway, so I don't know why they didn't just put the USB-C port on the side or on the back on the Pocket 4, because again, if you want to use a tripod, it just makes it bigger. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but that is mainly the only differences between the two cameras. Apart from, on the Pocket 4 now, you do have this magnet on the back of the gimbal to be able to put the fill light on. Now, are they going to bring out more accessories to be able to put on the back of this? Are they going to be third-party accessories? Who knows? But that's mainly the only differences on the build quality and design of the Osmo Pocket 4 and the Osmo Pocket 3. Are they big enough upgrades to upgrade from the Pocket 3 to the Pocket 4? that's up to you anyway. But I'm gonna head back into the studio now, and we're actually gonna talk about my final verdict, what I actually think between the Pocket 4 and the Pocket 3. So my overall thoughts on the DJI Pocket 4 versus the Pocket 3 after reviewing some of the footage and just playing around with the camera over the last couple of days is that they are both very, very similar. Now, they do have different sensors, and I got to admit, the footage does look quite different, but I do think that mainly has to do with that new D-Log color profile, which, to be honest, I actually didn't think it would be that big of a difference, mainly because I thought D-Log M was pretty good anyway. But if you actually look at the side-by-side when they're in their log form, the DJI Osmo Pocket 4 in D-Log, not D-Log M, looks a lot more flatter. So obviously that's where the 14 stops of dynamic range comes from compared to the 12 stops on the DJI Pocket 3. They do just look significantly more different. The Pocket 3 does look like the shadows are a lot more, not crushed, but a lot more darker compared to the Pocket 4. The Pocket 4's shadows seem to be a lot more exposed. There seems to be a lot more detail in there. And overall, when you just put the LUT straight onto both of the cameras, I do think I prefer the look of the Osmo Pocket 4. However, when you're in shooting the standard color profile, I actually am not the biggest fan of either of them really, even though the Pocket 3's standard profile I've used for a long time, and I think it depends in the different lighting scenarios that you are in, and it does look nice. It just sometimes looks really too colorful and too punchy, but the Pocket 4's one looks kind of not flat, but it just doesn't look as punchy in my opinion. I just think overall comparing it to the D-Log color profiles, they just don't look as good. Another huge thing I've got to admit is, like I said earlier, how much I loved the 2x zoom when that was implemented on the DJI Pocket 3, and having that as a physical button on the Pocket 4 that can also be shot in D-Log instead of standard color profile, I think that is an absolute huge upgrade. That is probably my favorite feature on the DJI Pocket 4. I'm not the biggest slow motion guy. Yes, it's nice to have, but I think 120 frames per second in 4K is more than enough if you are shooting on a Pocket. I don't think it's a big enough upgrade to sell your Pocket 3 just to get the Pocket 4, if you get what I mean. So like I said, they're really the main things that I can talk about over the Pocket 4 and the Pocket 3, because there isn't loads to talk about. There isn't the biggest upgrades in the world. It's not like the Pocket 2 to the Pocket 3. It looks pretty much the exact same. The screen's pretty much the exact same. Obviously the sensor's different and the image quality does look different, but the image quality on the Pocket 3 is great anyway. So it's not like you're comparing something that looks different, significantly better. Like, it's kind of personal taste, and I personally think D-Log is better than D-Log M after looking at that, but I don't think it's like the biggest deal breaker in the world, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be shooting on a DJI Pocket and you're debating whether to spend a couple extra £100 to get D-Log, to get them extra 2 stops of dynamic range, if you're really that into your log profiles, I don't think the times where you're absolutely going to need that is going to be shooting on a Pocket, if you get what I mean. You're going to be shooting on something else like a mirrorless camera, a cinema camera, because I feel like these Pockets are just more aimed, obviously, at content creators. I don't think it's the biggest reason to upgrade, and overall, do I think you should upgrade if you already own a Pocket 3? And I got to admit, no, I don't think you would. The only reason why I brought the Pocket 4, if I'm being honest, is because I wanted to make these videos for you guys on YouTube. If I was just already had this and I wasn't making content on this camera, I would personally wait for a potential Pocket 4 Pro where there's another lens in there. I just don't think they're worthy enough of going through the hassle of selling your Pocket 3 and then spending a couple hundred extra pounds more, because you won't get your complete resale value that you paid for this. So you will have to spend probably over £100 more to get the Pocket 4. Yes, they are upgrades, and yes, they are nice, but personally, unless you have the spare cash and you don't really care about it, I think it's best to just keep with your Pocket 3 and save that money and put it towards somewhere else. Now, if you own none of these cameras, which one should you get? Now, this is actually where I'm struggling with, because I'm not sure. And it does completely, entirely evolve around how much budget you do have. Because the Pocket 4, like I said, it is a better camera than the Pocket 3. And there's no doubt about that. The big difference is what at the minute is, because the Pocket 4 is now released, the Pocket 3 has dropped in price. Now, if you don't have the biggest budget in the world, I would suggest, if you're a new content creator, you should go for the Creator Combo. Now, the thing is with the Creator Combo, like we've said earlier in this video, the Creator Combo on the Pocket 4 isn't as good as the Pocket 3. Now, you can actually buy the DJI Pocket 3's Creator Combo for £100 less than the DJI Pocket 4. And in the Pocket 3 Creator Combo, you get the battery grip, which costs £60. And obviously, because it doesn't come with it on the Pocket 4, it's actually, if you want that as well, £160 more to get the Creator Combo of the Pocket 4 than the Pocket 3. If you're looking at them side by side, I would 100% say go with the DJI Pocket 3. It's not worth spending an extra £160. Should you do what I did and get the DJI Pocket 4 Essential combo for about £430 on Amazon, I think it is, and then get a mic mini for 25 quid, that will actually take you to the same price as the Pocket 3's Creator Combo. I would say either or is perfect for you. You've really got to see what you get in the accessories and what the features are, which really impact you. If you're desperate for 240 frames per second, if you really want that extra dynamic range, if you really want that 2x lossless zoom and D-Log, then I would suggest it's probably worth getting the Pocket 4 with the Essential combo maybe and the mic mini over the Pocket 3's Creator combo, because you can always get a battery grip later down the line and a cheap tripod anyway. But at the end of the day, out of these two cameras, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. Both of them are absolutely amazing, and whichever one you do go for, you're going to probably end up loving it anyway, because they are both so good. However, you might want to hold out a little bit longer, because there are rumors of a potential DJI Osmo Pocket 4 Pro coming out, which is meant to have dual cameras. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, it would be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video on the Pocket 4, Pocket 3, and any other cameras and tech related videos that I make on this channel in the future, and it will also just really help me out. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.